That's what people do on their lunch break, right? Sit in their car and film. My name's Mare. Welcome to the marathon. I have a little bit of time in between appointments, and I have some news, and I also have something that's been like marinating that I wanted to talk to you about and share with you. So here we are, just sitting in my car, just ate my lunch by a grassy knoll while I wait for my next appointment. I have things on my mind. I wanted to remind you to give yourself more credit than I think you're giving yourself, and also to ask questions, trust your gut, and be kinder to yourself. I'll explain. So my academic journey continues. If you are new here, I am back in school in my mid-30s and going to get a Bachelor of Social Work. It's wild because it's something that I've been thinking about for a long time, wanting to become a therapist. But if you had asked me even this time last year, I wouldn't have thought that I would have just be about to be finishing this year of school. Like, I have one more final and then I'm done for the school year, which is so wild to me. It's something I've always wanted to do, but the thought of going back to school for 6 years was very daunting. And, you know, I have an almost 10-year-old son and responsibilities and a home and, you know, bills and things. So I just thought, like, no, like, I've missed my window. But you're never too old to pivot. You're never too old to change your course or change your mind or try something out. So I talked to a few friends last year and everyone was just like, yes, you need to do this. Like, you need to be a therapist. You need to get a degree, like, go for it. And I asked my therapist and she was like, yes, I've been saying this for a long time. Like, you need to do this. And she was the first one who said to me, why don't you try and go to our local college? And I had never considered that. And then she also said to me, you know, you need to ask whether or not your education from when you were first out of secondary school counts. And I was just assuming that I was going to have to start from scratch. But cut to, I've been accepted into university for the fall, going into my 3rd year. And it's a bit complicated and I won't bore you, but basically I did 1 year at university when I first graduated high school and I didn't enjoy it, so I took time off. And then I went to a technical school, BCIT, and got my broadcast journalism, my diploma, and then did that for a long time and then decided this is what I want to do now, be a therapist. So I wanted to take all of my like life knowledge and experience and then add some academia so that I could be the most qualified therapist possible. I never would have considered that UVic would have even counted from 2001, 2002, but turns out it does. And so I was able to take 200 level courses at the college this past year, and talking to an academic advisor at the school. Now, don't get me wrong, I've been so impressed with the college. I've been so impressed with the academic advisors, the student advisors, financial aid has been incredibly helpful. Everyone I've talked to at this college is super knowledgeable, goes above and beyond, communicative, awesome. But I was told, like, nobody's gonna care about your BCIT. And I just agreed because I was like, well, honestly, that makes sense to me. Not only does it have nothing to do with therapy, but it's not like in the university trajectory. I didn't really think anything of it. And I thought, you know, UVic's probably way too old. So I'm gonna have to do 6 years of education from now until I can actually like have a practice or be a therapist and work in the therapy realm. No. I just decided when I was applying to university for this fall to include all of my education. So UVic, BCIT, and the college. And it all took. I had a very nice, very helpful conversation with one of the universities. They spoke to me for like an hour. And they said, you know, sometimes they'll take your 2 years of BCIT and that equals 1 full year of university. And it did. I was very nervous that I wasn't gonna have enough credit to start my 3rd year this fall, but I do. I got into multiple schools. I had to choose which one. And I just wanted this to be a reminder to you to like, not always take the first piece of advice that you're given. Keep an open mind, try, ask questions, like ask for forgiveness instead of permission. Like, there was no harm in me submitting my BCIT transcript, and turns out it was super helpful. So that's the first thing that I really wanted to tell you, was like, just because someone tells you that something isn't gonna happen for you, or, you know, not to bother with something, if you wanna bother with it and give yourself that shot. And then the second thing I wanna tell you, which is wild to me, is so I applied to universities, 2 of them, in January. By like the 3rd week of April, I still hadn't heard anything, and I was starting to panic a little bit because my college has summer school, and I thought, well, if I'm short credits, I could do some summer school classes. Maybe then I'd be able to start 3rd year this fall, or, you know, maybe I'll have to do a full year again at the college. But I just wanted to know, and it was like starting to make me, I was trying to not panic and leave it up to the universe, but I was getting impatient. I was like, I applied in January and they said, like, don't expect to hear back from March or April. One of the schools even said, like, under no circumstances can you contact us. Like, don't ask how your application's coming. Very like standoffish. So that was difficult. And then a couple weeks ago, I was settling in to study for my psychology final and procrastinated and thought, I'm just gonna log in to the university's website and see if it says anything. And so I did. And my acceptance was sitting there waiting for me. Congratulations, Mare. Here's your offer of acceptance. Please, like, give this box a little check mark and pay your deposit by May 1st. If I had waited, like, I thought, like, okay, I'll wait till finals are done. If I had waited till May, I would have missed it. I would have missed the deadline. So it was really just like a reminder, like, you got to take your life into your own hands. Like, when you are asking for something, going for something, doing something, like, don't just wait for someone else to give it to you, hand it to you, do it for you, tell you what you need to know. I'm not saying, like, be annoying and, like, push someone, but you gotta take matters into your own hands. And I just couldn't believe it. I just started sobbing. The unicorn thought something terrible had happened. I was like, no, it's good news, it's good news, I got in. And that was my first choice. But I just sat there thinking, like, what if I hadn't randomly checked that website? Would I have gotten an email? Like, I don't know, maybe. I just couldn't believe it. So I really wanted, as soon as that happened, I was like, I need to tell the marathoners. Like, you know, it's the same with when you're applying for work. Like, don't always wait for them to call you. Like, check in and say, like, hey, just like following up, you know. I know that nowadays, like, no one likes to talk on the phone, but sometimes you gotta do these things, ask the questions, instead of waiting for someone else to do it for you, or waiting for someone else to, like, present the opportunity. You gotta make your own opportunities. Maybe that's the, like, most succinct way of wrapping up this video. But those were, like, that's been on my mind a lot, and I really wanted to share it with you. Don't wait for someone. If you're waiting on information, or you're, like, trying to make big life changes, go for it. And, you know, ask for help, ask for advice, but also ask for forgiveness. You know, what's the worst thing that was going to happen with me submitting my BCIT transcript? They just didn't accept it, or they didn't care. Or my, like, 20-year-old UVic year, like, they could have just said, like, you know, it's past the threshold, but they didn't. So instead of me having to do 6 years of school, I think it's going to end up being 4. And that's a big difference, because 4 or 5, depending on what I do my master's in. But in 2 years, I'll have my bachelor's, which is just wild to me. And it's all online. I'm going to the University of Calgary in their social work program, which is one of the best, if not the best, in the country. So I'm really pumped on that. And then I'll decide whether I get my master's in social work, or I'm also leaning towards counseling psychology, because you know, therapy is my end goal. But the great thing about having my bachelor's in social work is I'll actually be able to work with it, you know, so that will be good. So that's my update. That's my school update. Thank you to everyone who's been like very supportive and answering my questions in the Marathoner Facebook group. Like when it comes to like studying and school and all the things, we're one step closer. 2 more years until I have my bachelor's, which is just like so wild. And only one more final. I can't wait. And I was worried that I was gonna have to go to summer school, but I don't. So May and June, Thomas will be in school and I will not. Anyway, that's the gist of today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Like, subscribe, become a marathoner. Life's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Let me know down below if this resonated with you. And if you've ever had an experience like this where you like took matters into your own hands and it worked out for you, or even if it didn't work out for you, if you learned something from it, let me know. Okay, I'm gonna crack the window because I'm pretty sure my eyelashes are melting. And I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.